I can't even see me, so. There we go. Yep. Now I can see me. I don't know what happened there. That was wild. Now I can see me. Weird. Y'all let me know if that's still a problem. I don't think it's going to be. I don't know what I did, honestly. I changed nothing, and all of a sudden it started working. Well, we'll run with it. Technology's weird. Indiana Wesleyan Marion, what a great game. Marion starts off fast with 3 turnovers on their first 3 drives forced, but Indiana Wesleyan claws their way back. Xander Stokes, very, very efficient. 23 of 34 for 265, 2 touchdowns and a pick, 98 yards and a touchdown on the ground. 53% on 3rd and 4th down were the Wildcats. Marion, on the other hand, just 19 of 31 out of Zach Bundalo. A good day, but solid yet unspectacular for Bundalo. Marion just can't hold on. And that wins Indiana Wesleyan a Mid-States, Mid-East title. I know the Mid-East, especially the Indiana Mid-East guys like Cody are super happy about that and, keeping the trophy in where it belongs. Let's go to the other side of the Mid-States. Actually, no, we're staying the same one. St. Francis upsets Concordia. Cody calls me on my incorrect prediction that Concordia was going to be amazing this year. They fall to 6-3. Man, St. Francis, that 5-4. You can't sleep on that. It's St. Francis. Grant Grimmel was really good, 20 of 31 for 243. Cam Peterson, 23 attempts for 83 yards and 2 scores. The offense was efficient, 15 of 25. Concordia just did not have an offensive answer. Brad Solom was 7 of 20 for a $143 and 2 touchdowns. Had another quarterback that was 7 of 13 for even fewer yards. Just was not a good day for the Concordia offense. Couldn't get it done on 3rd and 4th downs. Were 7 of 20, nearly half, or just a little bit more than half of the conversion rate of USF, and that's not going to get it done. Now, we'll head over to the other side of the division. St. Xavier stays alive, beats Olivet Nazarene 38-21, and what basically is a 2-week playoff in the Midwest. Stuart Ross was very good, 16 of 27 for 228. Justin Pringle was fantastic. The running game was great for St. Xavier as well. And their defense stepped up, made plays, kept Olivet Nazarene uncomfortable. 4 sacks, 11 tackles for a loss, 3 pass breakups did not allow Cam Crouch to get comfortable as a dual threat quarterback. Crouch 21 of 37 for 253. The offense only 25% on 3rd and 4th down conversions. Then we go to the one that surprised everyone. Dordt gets out to a 21-0 lead with 30 seconds left in the half. Morningside gets a touchdown with 30 seconds left. Comes back in the second half. The defense takes over for Morningside. They take a 24-21 lead, and Colson Cruz leads Dordt down the field and punches in the game-winning touchdown. Morningside played 4 quarterbacks that game, led by Zach Chevalier, 18 of 35 for 201 yards, 3 interceptions. Dordt was efficient, 8 of 14 on 3rd down. Most of that 3rd down issue there, that 6 that they didn't make, most of those were in the second half. Dort just able to hold on. This is the first time that Morningside has lost consecutive games, 2 GPAC games, both in the same season since 2007. They've been so good. And Cody, you're right. Justin Pringle's got to be about 30 by now. Doing dual threat with a punter and the wide receiver. Kevin, Indiana Wesleyan won't ever get me a nice background for my use. I don't know, man. I've asked. And in the KCAC, Evangel is one step away from, in their inaugural KCAC season, winning the Kessinger Division. They defeat Southwestern 17-14. Not a great stretch for Southwestern at all. Lost 3 of their last 4. Were 4-14 on third and fourth down conversions. Jarius Bennett, 15 attempts for 84 yards from the running back position. Christian Burke, 10 of 18 for 40 yards. That's not a great yards per attempt at all. Bradley Myers was a force at linebacker for Evangel. 13 tackles, 2 tackles for a loss, and a sack. R.J. Wakely, 20 of 41 for 318 yards, including 118 of those yards to Dylan Hester. Evangel squeaks by, does what they need to do. One more week for Evangel, and they've punched their ticket in the playoffs. Well, but the other side of the KCAC, they've punched their ticket. Ottawa, the 6-4 Ottawa Braves, who I said they'll never make the playoffs. Guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They have made the playoffs. I was wrong. I will admit when I am wrong. It does tend to happen sometimes. Ottawa pulls the upset on Kansas Wesleyan, punches their ticket for the playoffs. The defense was so good. 4 sacks, 7 tackles for loss, 6 pass breakups, and an interception of Byron McNair. Billy Maples was as good as he needed to be, 10 of 23 for $158, 2 touchdowns through the air. Winton Ruth with 20 attempts for 96 yards and a touchdown. This was an overtime game. You'll see the game that sent it to overtime a little later on. But Ottawa's defense made one more play than Kansas Wesleyan and was able to punch that ticket. And then out west, the Frontier. Well, it continues to frontier. I mean, what are we going to expect from our friends out west? Montana Western upsets Carroll 38-17. Jack Perka throws 4 interceptions in one game, which is abysmal for him. He is usually so good. But Michael Palandri was better. 21 of 33 for almost 400 yards through the air, 4 touchdowns through the air, and 1 on the ground. 7 tackles for loss, 4 interceptions, 5 pass breakups. Man, it is Carroll is gone from probable playoff team to right there on the edge over the last few weeks, and it's going to be a nervy Sunday for the Saints. Let's take a look then at how that goes into the media poll that is brought to you by Connor Darnell Designs. Connor, NAIA guy, born and bred. He's putting in the work, doing the SID work tonight, feeling under the weather, still getting out to some playoff soccer. If that's not NAIA, I don't know what is. Let's take a look at our top 25. Morningside slides 7 spots. Dort picks up 7 spots. Unfortunately, Dort doesn't flip over Morningside. I do agree with that. The body of work for Morningside has been there this season, whereas Dort has that Northwestern loss. Everyone else kind of slides around a little bit. Montana Western picks up 3 spots. Carroll loses 8. Benedictine picks up 3. Mid-American Nazarene finally makes their way into the top 25. We'll be back with more after these messages from our friends at AdCraft.
So you want to create and sell custom merch for your team or business. That's exciting, but where do you begin? How much inventory should you order? How do you distribute orders? AdCraft has your answers. Streamline the way you offer custom merch by utilizing our risk-free web store service. We ship directly to each customer, and we have the fastest turnaround in the game. Raise funds for your team or get merch to your employees and patrons. Contact AdCraft today, and let's bring your merch to life.
That's exactly what they do. They're the best in the business. They are NAIA born and bred as well. You'll sense a theme here with our sponsors wanting to give back into the NAIA. Absolute great company for web stores to get your team's product in the hands of your fans, onto the backs and into the closets of your fans. Whether it's your team at work, contact them. They'll take care of you. And man, I tell you, we talked about this play before as the play that sprung Ottawa into the playoffs. And here it is. Malik Patterson run, touchdown, kickoff, return for a touchdown. Words are hard. Let's take a look. See, catches it there. My man is going to hit 19.8 miles per hour here. Pull away speed for Malik Patterson, making it happen. Thanks to the folks at Ottawa for providing me with the camera angle there, where the broadcast angle had cut him out a little bit. A 97.2 yards total coverage for Malik Patterson. Congrats, you are our play of the week. Now, let's take a look at our what to watch for, and as we talk about the playoff implications of each. First off, Indiana Wesleyan at Concordia. Indiana Wesleyan's already sewn up their playoff spot. Concordia can try to insert some chaos in there. It's the last in the gauntlet. And, Brett, we'll chat about that. It's a little different this year. I think Dort might still get in. Concordia can insert some chaos, get back into the picture. Indiana Wesleyan, if they want a chance at being a 2 seed instead of the 3, they got to win. And they've got to put Concordia in their place there. Next up, Bethel versus Lindsey Wilson, a 2 p.m. kick. Yeah, that's right, Kevin. Indiana Wesleyan has never won at Concordia. It's big for them. Bethel has a couple of nice wins under their belt. One against Roosevelt, who's lurking just outside the top 25. A big one over Roosevelt. At that, that's pretty recent. Lindsey Wilson has losses to Georgetown, to Kaiser. Lindsey has to have this game, to have a signature win this season under their belt. It's a 2 p.m. kick. I will be posting a listening link because as Bethel does charge for their feed. So I'll post their listen free link so that we can listen to this one there. In the middle of the country, Benedictine hosts Mid-America Nazarene in a game that at the beginning of the season I did not think would be deciding of playoffs. But here we are, and Benedictine can clinch with a win, but there is chaos with a Mid-America Nazarene win. Going to be a big one. Mid-America Nazarene has had a really, really good season. And a win against Benedictine would cap a high water mark for them. It's going to be a good one. Can't wait to watch that one. Another one that we can't wait to watch is Carroll versus Montana Tech. Montana Tech's had a weird season. Has a win against Central Washington. Has lost to Rocky. Has lost to Carroll. If you can get a win against Carroll, Carroll might be out of the playoffs. That's going to be a big one there. Carroll's got to have a win there. Going to the Sooner. Texas Wesleyan is going to try to avoid chaos. They have to have a win against Louisiana Christian to clinch the Sooner. Louisiana Christian can make some weird Sooner three-way tie stuff happen if they can beat Texas Wesleyan. This is the time of year. This is where the chaos means something. Texas Wesleyan, gotta have it. And then the Mid-States Midwest Championship game. St. Xavier versus Roosevelt. Winner goes to the playoffs. Loser's going to stay home. Gonna be a big-time game against these two squads. I think it's a big deal this game is at Roosevelt. Roosevelt moving up to Division II to the GLIAC next year. So what better way to move into the next division up than by winning the one you're in? And then the last of the bunch, College of Idaho travels to Southern Oregon. If the Yotes want to avoid chaos, they've got to win. They cannot succumb to the Frontier. Southern Oregon has had such a good season this year, especially as opposed to where they've been over the last few. This is a team that's hoisted a red banner. It's a big deal. Eugene, you are right on it. If Tex West loses, you get point differential. Texas Wesleyan has to win or lose by 9 or less. You get the auto bid. Ottawa is eliminated. Yeah, if Roosevelt wins, St. Xavier could still take another at-large. They could, but I don't think that's possible. I don't think that's what the committee is going to choose. We'll talk about that in a minute. Let's take a look at some bracketology. Let's get into it. I love it. All right, here are my opinion. Some of these are fact. Some of these are my opinion. These 14 teams have punched their tickets. Now, 14. Last year, I would have only been able to give you 2 on the bubble to get in. Nay. This is a 20-team playoff, boys and girls. I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. More teams is more better. So, with 13 divisions and conferences in the NAIA, the way that they're doing this is that every division and conference winner has a true auto bid. That means Ottawa of Kansas, who is not in the NAIA coaches poll, has punched their ticket. Punch. They don't need to be in the top 20. Punch. Reinhardt, who right now is at 21. Punch. They've got it. They've got it all sewn up. Northwestern has it sewn up. Congratulations to the Red Raiders for getting that done. Grandview has it sewn up. Indiana Wesleyan has it sewn up. Kaiser mostly has it sewn up. They need to win. I think even if they lose to Florida Memorial, they're in. College of Idaho, I think even if they lose, they're still in. That makes them a lock. Georgetown has punch their ticket. Marion, they're getting in. Even with a loss this weekend, they would get in. Bethel, I think they get in either way. No matter what happens with Lindsey Wilson, they've got the resume for it. Evangel, same thing, even though they haven't clinched the Kessinger, even if they lose, they're still in. Dickinson State, punch. You're in the North Star. Reinhardt, we've already talked about them. Montana Western, I think, is going to grab one of your at-larges. Morningside, I think, is going to grab one of your at-larges. And Ottawa, punch, punch. Now, that leaves 6 spots on the bubble. Obviously, there are 3 teams. There are 3 auto bid slots that are automatically in. Texas Wesleyan or the Sooner winner. Whoever that's going to be by point differential, whether it's LC, whether it's Ottawa. If you're Ottawa, you need to be rooting for pure, unadulterated chaos from the other people on the bubble, but not from your front runners. That one's in. That's an auto bid. St. Xavier or Roosevelt. I don't think that St. Xavier is going to get in on merit. You have losses to Marion, to Indiana Wesleyan. You have a win against a then number 13 St. Francis. You have a loss to Saginaw Valley State. You are 1-2 against the NAIA top 25. I don't think the committee is going to look kindly on that. Benedictine or Mid-American Nazarene. Benedictine sitting at 14. They have a win against Baker. But when we're looking at those top 25 wins, you have a loss against Morningside. And then you have the win at Baker. You're 1-1 against the NAIA top 25. You lose this one, and I don't know that you're getting in. So the winners of those will get in. Okay, so Ottawa cannot win the tiebreaker. So Ottawa has got to root for chaos from Carroll, Dort, St. Thomas, Lindsay, and friends, basically, in order to shoot up the ranking. Dort is not an automatic bid. They did not beat Northwestern. Northwestern took the GPAC title. They get the auto bid. The ones that are on the edge. So with your 14 that are locks, with your 3 here that are going to get in, that means 17. So 3 of these get in. Carroll. Let's look at Carroll's case real quick. Right now, Carroll is sitting at 16th in the coaches' poll. They have wins against Montana Tech, which was a number 16 team at the time. They have a win at home against St. Thomas, number 14 team at the time. They have a loss against College of Idaho and a loss against Montana Western. 2-2 against the NAIA top 25 with a chance to get a third win or loss against Montana Tech at home. You've got to win if you're Carroll. If you lose and you're going 2-3, I don't think you're going to be able to get in. What's the difference between Dort and Morningside? Difference between Dort and Morningside is Midland. The difference between Dort and Morningside is a 10-7 loss at home against Midland on October 7th. That's the difference. Morningside, when they play Midland, at home they beat them 48-17. There's your difference. It's unfortunate. That's what it is. Dort. Let's look at what they've got. They've got a loss against number 1 Northwestern and a win against number 3 Morningside. You're 1-1. You should get in. You're number 17, though. You're right on the edge there. It's gonna be a toughie. You gotta hope things go your way, and you gotta hope that Dakota Wesleyan, who has been a really good team this season, you gotta hope that they don't beat you. Let's look at St. Thomas. St. Thomas has a weird little schedule. You have a 1-point loss to Stetson. Yes, that is looked at. You have a 1-point loss to Stetson. You have a last-second 3-point loss to Carroll. You have an 18-point win against Texas Wesleyan, a 7-point loss to Kaiser. That makes you 1-2 against the NAIA top 25, albeit both of those losses are by single scores. Carroll's loss last week is not a single score loss. And I have a feeling that my Thomas Nighthawks are about to go take a whipping in Miami Gardens. So, rip Thomas. Because St. Thomas has to come out and look good to do it. Lindsey Wilson. Why is Lindsey Wilson here? They are in the poll at 11th. Well, yeah. But if they lose to Bethel, let's take a look at their resume. A loss to Kaiser. A loss to Georgetown. A loss to Bethel. 0 top 25 wins. Big honking deal. Friends needs to root for a little bit of chaos. Friends has good wins over Avila. At that point, Avila was still a top 25 team. They have a win against Southwestern when Southwestern was still a top 25 team. They have a loss against Evangel. They've got a good resume, but some of the luster has come off of those top 25 wins. It's going to be hard for them to get in. Ottawa have a win, or they have a loss against against Texas Wesleyan, a 16-point loss, a 3-point win over Louisiana Christian, who was number 25, may not have been top 25 at that point, so that might not even count. So you're 0-1. You're going to have to root for some serious issues here. Now, here, it was definitely pre-Dukes. All right. Let's see. I've got Matt's picks here for what he thinks it's going to be. GPAC is not the best division. When you look at best division, you have to look at both top level and the entirety of the division. And according to the research that we've done, that's very rudimentary, to say the least. The Mid-South is actually the toughest division, followed by the Frontier. How does Kansas Wesleyan get in? I'm sorry, Cole. You had to win against Ottawa in order to have your shot. Kansas Wesleyan cannot get in. You're not in the coach's top 25. You needed that auto bid. All right, so here is Matt's top 25, or top 20. Here's his field. Northwestern, Grandview, Indiana Wesleyan, Kaiser College of Idaho, Marion, Georgetown, Bethel of Tennessee, Montana Western, Evangel, Lindsay, Tex West, Dordt, Morningside, Benedictine, Ottawa, Dickinson State, St. Xavier, Carroll, and Friends. Now, give you mine. I'm going to start with my locks, the ones that I know: Northwestern, Grandview, Indiana Wesleyan, Kaiser College of Idaho, Georgetown Marion, Bethel Evangel, Dickinson, Reinhardt, Montana Wesleyan, Morningside, Ottawa. I'm going to go with Tex West, Roosevelt, Benedictine, Carroll Dordt St. Thomas. And you know, maybe y'all saw that coming because of the way that I did it. Yeah, I know, Cole. It's been a weird season for Kansas Wesleyan. It's been very up and down. And I know it's been tough over there in Salina. So y'all keep your heads up over there. We know it's tough over there. I think St. Thomas gets in. Can Dordt get a home game? I don't think so from where they are right now. Because they're down there near the bottom of the top 25 in who's going to get in. Let's pull this up here. Make it a little bigger. So you've got Reinhardt, Dickinson State, and Ottawa, who are going to be down below you. I am still holding on for St. Thomas. I believe. They are young. You might be able to catch one, but it's going to be so you're going to have 8 teams that are going to play that opening weekend. So if you think that Reinhardt, Dickinson, and Ottawa are going to have to travel, that's one more team. They might make St. Thomas travel. But I think it's actually easier to make Dordt travel because of where they are. Yeah, so that's a whole nother discussion because there's 850-mile guides and there's minimal numbers of flights that we're trying to do, and I'm going to try to do a live stream on Saturday for my patrons. And we're going to go through the teams, and we'll do the entire spreadsheet of who is where farther away from whom. We'll go through all that, and we'll get the field on Saturday before Sunday's selection show. Okay. Do I believe Kaiser's underrated at 4? No. I think that's a proper spot for them, just as a full transparency in my poll, in my personal NAI Media Top 25 poll that I submitted. I have the exact same top 4 as the coaches. I think that's the right order. Northwestern is the best team in the nation. Grandview is really stinking good. Indiana's a really, really good team, but not as good as the other two, and I think Kaiser's really good. Friends does have a chance at the auto bid. You are correct. And that's going to be, other than chaos, what Friends has to hope for. No, you're fine with the coaches poll. That's what I've got up. Let's see. How will the selection? What's my poll? Oh, Hoyt, you're going to have to scroll back in the. No, it'd be that way. You're going to have to scroll back in the video. Any thoughts on how the selection committee will seed teams? Okay, so historically, the selection committee has seeded true. So they have not given extra weight to a conference championship squad. unless something really weird happens, Ottawa's going to be the 20 seed. I'm not saying they're bad. Not saying they're bad at all. They punched their ticket. They're good enough to make it from here, and anything can happen. Look at Kaiser last year. They were a 12 seed. Played number 4, number 3, number 2, and number 1. All in the same playoffs. And we're the national runners-up. You get in, anything can happen. They'll probably be the 16 seed. I would imagine that Reinhardt or Dickinson State are going to be 13 or 14 and 15, or not 14 and 15. Yeah. No, you're right, Cody, and I'll catch that in a minute. Reinhardt, Dickinson State are going to be 18, 19, somewhere around in there. Cody is right. It's not really much of a seeding. They do try to sort of get the seeding somewhat right. Part of the weirdness is we're going to have to figure out what the top 12 teams are that aren't going to play anyone versus the 8 that are going to play and their distances. And so from there, you're going to have 13, 20, 14, 19, I can't do math, 15, 17, and that doesn't make any sense. I can't math, guys. My shoes are on. I can't go past 10. So they will reseed, basically, after the first round. If you have Ottawa coming up and beating, let's say they probably won't send them to Evangel. They'll probably do something like a Benedictine, would be about right. If they beat Benedictine, then they will reseed them probably against, as best they can, maybe like a Grandview or a maybe even Evangel. Yeah, thanks, guys. Obviously, I can't count. Does Morningside get a bye? At number 12 right here, yes. I think they do, and it is, I think, thanks, Roger. I can't count to 23. I only have 10 fingers and 10 toes. What do you think they teach us here in Florida? I think Morningside does get a bye. They're sitting right at 12, which will probably send them to Grandview in the second round if they go pure seed, which they probably won't. That's half the fun, is figuring out how they're going to reseed every time. But yeah, I think Morningside gets a bye. And the fact that Morningside gets a bye and Dordt doesn't should kind of make Coach Penner a little annoyed. But again, the Midland loss. I keep going back to that. Yeah, I think you're right, Cody. I think they do put Morningside there just for the bye. Now, you heard me say we'll probably go live on Saturday at some point just to talk seating and where they're going to do that. I will at some point not be able to say a thing about anything, so I'm going to try on Saturday to get all my stuff together and make my final field prediction. But we can't do what we do without our patrons. We're so happy to have other folks like Brett, who you saw here earlier, have signed back up with us. And we're so thankful for him. Patreon.com/NAIAFBALL. It's the best way to support our work. We only ask for $1 a month. And that helps pay for our trip to the national championship game. Helps keep the lights on. Helps pay the bills for the office software that we use. Midland always has Dort's number. Midland always seems to have everyone's number like at least once. They're a good squad, albeit a little inconsistent. But our patrons, and I'll undo them there so you can see all of them here. We have DSU Cone, Bob Boone, Roger Meyer, Shirley LaBella, Jeremy Vobble, Fred Christensen, Jerry Quickle, Ace Wellen, Brett, Marty Siebold, Nick Ryan, Hayden Ferrigno, Kyle Gregory, Tyler Pierce, Justin Hoffman, Steve Speakman, Brian Shake, Julianne Shager, Nate Soapbeer, Stephen Cutler, Julie Lout, Tim Burrow, Dale Norton, Nathan Moore, Dylan Gonzalez, Ryan, Jason Crawford, Zach Ryher, Dustin Wilkie, Charles A. Flowers, and Todd. The Todd. Love it. All right. Perfect time for comments, and we can talk all night here. Chances Baker gets in. That's gonna be a toughie there. Let's go and let's look at Baker's schedule. If I can type again, typing is hard too. 2-loss team, but your 2 losses are a 24-point loss at Grandview and a 30-6 loss at home versus Benedictine. Both 24-point losses. Your Mid-America Nazarene win is not going to count for a top 25 win or a receiving votes win because of where they were at the time, which is dumb. I think they should consider them where they ended up. But you know what? I don't make the rules. If I did, we'd do things differently. That's all right. This is better than we did them before. Before the selection committee, this was all like smoke and mirrors. There's been a lot of good changes in the way that we select teams. So you're 0-2 against the top 25. There are only 7 spots available for teams who did not win their conference. Don't think Baker's going to get in. It's hard to get 3 teams in from a single conference. It is still smoke and mirrors a little bit. You're not wrong, Cody. It is less of smoke and mirrors than it used to be. So now we have a selection committee. Let me go reset my camera so I can actually throw my face back up here. We now have a selection committee, which means that these are people separate from the coaches that vote on the poll. Different people that are doing that work, which means that they can be organizationally separate. Is Northwestern that good? Yeah, their defense is really fantastic, and Jalen Gramstad is on another level. And so being in a selection committee, that gives people like me the ability to ask the NAIA, hey, I want to interview one of your committee members. And I want to talk and I want to have transparency about this process. And the NAIA, to their credit, for the last 4 years now has said absolutely. This is definitely the most unsure about playoff teams that I've been since we've started. This one's really difficult because I don't know how much latitude they have. Kevin, you are correct. I do not like the fact that St. Francis and Marion will no longer be in the same division as Indiana Wesleyan, even though they're like right there with them, like geographically. I agree. It will be really interesting to see whether the Midwest and their kind of a little bit lower level of play than the Mideast drags down Marion and St. Francis, or if Marion and St. Francis drag up the rest of the Midwest. I'm interested in hearing about that. To their credit, the NAIA has been nothing but open with us about the playoffs and making sure that we are able to give as much transparency as we can to you, the fan. I mean, we're never going to be, we're likely not going to be ESPN. and be able to sit down with the committee members every week after they reveal their poll. We're probably not going to be able to do that. But the fact that we get one of them in at the end of the season is fantastic. Hoyt says, does Dort have a good future, do you think? Joel Penner is a really good coach. I love talking with Coach Penner. He's fun to talk with as an interview. And so yeah, I think they do have a good future now. They need to over the last 4 years they've been like that a little bit, to where they had a really good season when they had a really good quarterback, and it's taken them a couple years to get kind of back up to the crest. You kind of need to raise the level and have a little less variance. And the best teams reload rather than rebuild. It felt like after their last playoff run that Dort had to rebuild from scratch. Not from scratch. They had to rebuild a good portion, a good chunk, because they had built it for a window. Yes, and both Mid-States trophies can reside in Indiana. We'll see if St. Xavier has something to say about that. I think they will. It's a good program over there. They might want it to be in Illinois. Let me see. Let me pull up, just for kicks and grins, the 2023 SP Plus for NAIA. Now, this does have some limitations, especially when the teams don't play each other. But it is a quite useful tool. All right, Bill doesn't have. Bill Connolly does this, works for ESPN, loves the NAIA, grew up watching NAIA games in Oklahoma. And so keeps up an SP Plus for the NAIA. For that, I am very, very thankful. And so you can see a little bit of the difference here. Now, this is pre this week, so you still see Morningside right here. They're probably going to be about right there. Now, but you see some of these teams. You see a St. Thomas team that's sitting at 10. You see an Ottawa of Arizona team that is better than College of Idaho, which we'll see. Because last year they had Arizona Christian ranked really, really high, and once they got against better competition, they just flopped. Let's talk about this. St. Francis has made a nice little turnaround there. Mid-American Nazarene's been on an upward trajectory. There's Ottawa of Kansas there at 47. But for the most part, when you look at this, there's no real outliers here. Through the top 20, you're sitting there going, it's just about right. Committee's doing a fantastic job with what they do. All right, any other questions, comments, worries, concerns, philosophical musings? I'm here for it. Is Dort 17 on there? Ah! You asked me after I take it down. Okay, hang on. NAIA Week 10. Now, this was pre-Morningside win. Dort was 17 on there. They'll probably move up there a little bit after that. If Friends gets the auto, where would I put Evangel? Ooh, that's a hard one. Let me look at my stuff here. If Friends wins the auto, pull the 25 back up. Let's see where they are. Come on, where is it? Football. Top 25 rating. Okay, so Evangel's 9. You'd be a top team no buy, I think. You'd go down to about 15. Show the trophy from Michigan. All right. We'll show the trophy from Michigan, but the only place I know where to get it is RDM's, Cody. So, let's see. Cody. Right there. It is pretty. I will give them that. It is very pretty. I don't have such a problem with it. I'm a Florida State fan. We get state championship rings when we beat Miami in Florida. I don't mind it so much. So, either way, keep an eye out for all the stuff that's going to come out this week. Only showed them 7-0 was missing a game for the... Oh, yes. They didn't... The SP Plus does not count non-NAIA wins or losses. It is consolation prize, Cody. Does not count non-NAIA wins or losses in that because it's hard to kind of mix the levels like that. And that's why you're 7-0. Keep an eye out. Patrons, keep an eye out. I'll probably schedule something. I've got a birthday party to go to, have real life. But after that, we'll look at it. IW is going to be a little undervalued there, yeah, because they don't have that Valpo win. But still, you've done the work in the rest of the schedule that you're going to be fine. And SP Plus is not, unfortunately, one of the rating systems that they utilize, although I think they should. If you're not a patron, patreon.com/NAIAFBALL, you can get in on the patrons only live stream where we will just sit and we will pour over spreadsheets. Woohoo! If you're a football nerd, you're gonna enjoy it because you're gonna sit here and you're gonna try to figure out. We'll selection committee this basically together. We'll try to figure out who the best teams are that are within 850 to match together, and we'll kind of do this as a team and see if we can nail it. So, for Matt, who couldn't be here tonight, wished he could be, still got me his stuff. For the head coach, John Cooper, I am Cory Thorpe, and we will see you next week, or this week if you're a patron.